We are live. Okay, everyone. Good morning. This is Pete Erickson, the founder of Modev and the creator of Voice Summit. This is part of our Get to Know Our Speaker series. We have more than 300 speakers coming from 25 countries to share their knowledge on the whole space of conversational design, development, marketing, and more. Of course, one of the most recognizable names in design and marketing is Adobe. And today we're thrilled to be speaking with Mark Webster of Adobe. Mark, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pete. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess first off, let's talk a little bit about how you got to Adobe with SaySpring. Walk us through that journey a little bit, the history of SaySpring, and then right up to the acquisition. And let's talk about, the exciting things that are happening now.
Yeah, sure thing. So my career has been in product design, and probably back in about 2016, 2017, started to prototype out a few different ideas. I'm kind of a designer and developer, and realized everything that I was doing, I was prototyping as a developer, that the access to the medium of voice for designers just wasn't there yet. And so I got less excited about the thing I was trying to prototype and more excited about the problem of how designers design and prototype. So basically sat in a co-working space by myself for a year and built SaySpring.
I love it. I love that.
It was a fun journey. Launched in December 2016, and then it was kind of a blur. We met Adobe really, really early on. Got to know Khoi Vinh, who's the head of design for Adobe XD, and he really became our champion for us becoming a part of Adobe. And the thing that really resonated with me, I've been an Adobe tools user my whole life, but as we were building SaySpring, we were talking to our investors, talking to agencies, talking to the platforms, and everybody kept referring to our users as developers, not designers. And when we met the folks from Adobe, they instantly got what our vision was, where we sat in the space, what we wanted to do. We were never going to be sort of a no-code development tool.
Right.
It was really about, giving the creative community access to voice. And so there's just the opportunity to join here and sort of continue on that mission at Adobe scale came up. So it was fast. We joined April 2018.
Wow.
Yeah, we had raised our first round of funding in like May 2018 or 2017. So it was a fast journey, but it's been great being here. As soon as we got here, we put our heads down to integrate all of our stuff into Adobe XD. I remember painfully not being able to make it to Voice Summit that summer because we had our heads down racing for the launch in October, but we got all that stuff out the door.
I got to tell you, it's all the more, all the better to have you here at our sophomore year. We got our feet wet. We got started last year. I think the thing that we learned is that this is a tremendously fast-growing community, and that it's interesting. It does sit at the intersection. I think one of the things SaySpring did well is it sits at the intersection between developers and designers. So the voice first space just naturally puts itself there, with kind of AI under the covers and all the development happening in the presentation. We just have this new multimodal presentation layer. So what can you tell us now about the Adobe product and what it is today, and maybe some of the things you'll be talking about at the upcoming Voice Summit?
Yeah, so Adobe XD is our design and prototyping solution. Traditionally, it's been used primarily for websites, mobile apps, screen design. And when we introduced this stuff in October, it was really bringing the power of XD into the world of voice, but also bringing voice into mobile and web and kiosk development, sort of whatever screen you'd be working on. How could you use voice as an input and speech and audio as part of the playback experience? So we launched that in English, and then over the last couple of months we've been racing to get it out globally. It's now supported in the 8 or 9 different languages that XD is, and we have some big news about sort of the next evolution of the product that we're going to release the first day of the summit, which I'm very
excited about. That's
about.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it'll be a lot of fun.
Okay, well, that's amazing. So anybody who wants to know the next big piece of news from Adobe, I hope you can join us at Voice Summit. Let's talk a little bit about your talk, why conversational interfaces are designed to fail. I'm going to do a quick screen share because I pulled that up here. By the way, the product we use for these live streams is called StreamYard. If anybody hasn't used it yet, I highly recommend it. It's a really great platform, super intuitive, easy to use. So Mark, definitely check it out. So why conversational interfaces are designed to fail. I love the title. And
meant to be provocative.
I love provocative titles. But what would you say, like, all kidding aside, I think that what are some of the big misconceptions I think that the market is making about this space that you see from your vantage point?
Yeah, I think there's a few pieces. So the first being, like, what do we mean by voice, right? So voice gets tied into an assistant metaphor. It gets tied into AI. This idea that a voice interface is a simulation of having a conversation with a real person.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of everything's come out of the gate, and we're all sort of going down the path as if that's the way this thing is going to grow. And, we look at the ubiquity of voice interfaces, right? Like, we all know the stats, 50% of US households, 8 billion assistants. But there's like 4 primary use cases we still continue to use it for. And why, right? So why does every Amazon Alexa skill start with welcome to, right? Like, what is the mental model there? Am I entering a room? Is somebody greeting me when I enter that room? Are they going to be bringing me stuff into that room? Or am I going to be going to other rooms off of that main room? Right? Like, when we do design and UX design specifically, the idea of, like, what's the mental model? What is the metaphor I'm using for this? There's a design principle called skeuomorphic design, which is where you make digital interfaces simulate real world opportunity or real world situations.
Sure.
So, like, the reason we all use the desktop is, like, it's a desktop. There are folders. There are pieces of paper.
Right.
Like, when the first iPhone came out, it was notes looked like a yellow legal pad, and the YouTube app looked like a TV. Right. And so we've used this metaphor of a conversation with a person, and we're all doing it. And we all are using, and we say the same things about what voice interfaces are. It's a human way to communicate. We all know how to do it. It's the first time interfaces are going to need to adapt to us versus us having to adapt to, a keyboard and a mouse. But maybe none of this is true, right? Maybe the thing that's holding back voice for all these different use cases is the way we're designing these experiences and what we're telling the user this thing can do well, right? Maybe voice has a lot more friction up front in onboarding, and then a lot less friction once you use it, right? But all of the lessons that we've learned over the last 10 or 15 years in digital design around the value of onboarding, the value of a design-driven process, not a developer-driven process, voice has kind of not done any of that stuff yet, right? Like, the reason it all starts with welcome to is actually because people are going to GitHub and pulling down the template for an Alexa skill that says, like, welcome to Quiz Game, and they're changing out Quiz Game with the name of their brand and just, like, moving forward with it. And they're not starting, like, from scratch in a proper design process, right?
Wow.
So the talk is really just about, like, a call to arms for the creative community, but for all of us involved in this space, like, are we thinking deeply enough about this? Like, do we know what voice is supposed to be? Do we know what's going to sort of, help it live up to its potential? And so calling out a bunch of examples and sort of how we as the voice community in general should just be thinking about this differently.
Oh man, I gotta tell you, it's getting me excited for your talk. But also just having been close to this space now for, I think we've been really around it for 6 years as an organization, really ever since Siri was announced. And, at that time, what's interesting is developers were clamoring to get access to Siri to voice enable their apps. And I always wonder, like, where would we be had those APIs been opened up to third-party developers? But I love where we are today. And I think it's the right time. I think that there is the combination of the powerful processors and computing, the ubiquity of the internet, access speeds, all those things. So here we are, it's 2019. I would say that given everything that you've done and the announcement that Adobe is making, we've got a pretty exciting few years ahead of us, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. I mean, the last few years have been exciting, haven't they? I mean,
we're just setting things up, right? You're just sort of like tilling the soil and getting it ready.
Yeah, I mean, Adobe just put out a study that was talking about, user behavior around this, and users want to use voice for more things. The voice assistant baked into a car or smart home decisions is becoming a primary, like, purchasing factor that people use. They want it. They're hungry for it. People use it every day. And it really feels like there's been few places in digital where consumer adoption has gotten so far ahead of the ways that we're coming up with to build interesting experiences on top of it, that it just feels like even 4 years into this thing, it's a goal rush. It's just white space.
Yeah. It's well, we're more excited than ever for this year's Voice Summit. If you want to learn about this space and meet folks like Mark who have a deep history here, a lot of success, and some insights onto where this is all going, come join us at Voice Summit. The URL is voicesummit.ai. And tickets start very affordably. I think it's just $145 and go up from there. We have everything from deep dive workshops. There's a free hackathon on Monday. But then there will be more than 300 speakers sharing their knowledge in this really fast moving and important space. If you are a student and you want access to this event, we also offer scholarships and student pricing. Or if you're transitioning and you need economic assistance, please apply for a scholarship. We want Voice Summit to be the most inclusive tech conference ever. And I think we're on our way towards that journey as well. So Mark, it's been great chatting with you today. We really look forward to seeing you in July, or at the end of July, July 22nd through the 25th, excuse me. I haven't had enough coffee today. I think I need a couple more.
You and me both.
Couple more cups of this stuff. But anyway, Mark, thanks a lot for being involved. Thanks for Adobe for being involved. We look forward to seeing you at the conference.
Yeah, I can't wait to get there. The Twitter list of followers and people I follow over the voice community for the last 4 years, like everybody is going to be there. So I feel like this is a homecoming of some sorts.
It's going to be a party. We're definitely looking forward to it as well. So see you next month.
Great. All right. Take care.
Cheers.